House Leader, third party.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Yesterday, my colleague raised the parallels between Site C and another dam, Muskrat Falls in Newfoundland and Labrador. And the parallels are unnerving. Their government, too, inherited a doomed mega-project, billions over budget, behind schedule, exempted from independent oversight. Does it all sound too familiar? But there is a significant difference.
Members, if we may hear the question.
The difference is that this government has a path out of this mess. The government doesn't have to be responsible for continuing with this boondoggle. The previous government's mishandling of BC Hydro has seen its debt rise from $6 billion to $20 billion. And if Site C goes ahead, we could see a doubling of hydro rates in this province. But this government has the ability to make a choice to change course. Data is not popular at the moment, and protect British Columbians from this province.
They're very uncomfortable with your question.
My question through you, Honourable Speaker, is to the Premier. The previous government left the mess of Site C as their legacy. You have an opportunity to move forward and choose a fiscally responsible path. Will you take it?
Minister, Energy, Mines and Petroleum Resources.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And as I mentioned yesterday, this government is very aware of what's going on with Muskrat Falls. We've been following it very closely. And the member opposite, or sorry, the leader of the House Leader of the third party, anything seems to be worth a heckle for the BC Liberals, Honourable Speaker. I'm glad they're paying attention. To get back to the member's question, however, is when she points out some of the cost overruns and financial concerns around Site C, I think it's important to state clearly for the record is that the current situation where Site C is looking at some cost overruns, looking at potentially not being on time, is a result of things that happened under BC Liberal watch, Honourable Speaker. I know they don't like that fact.
Members, we shall hear the response.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. So the first tension crack that happened was in February under their watch. The second tension crack that happened was in May under their watch. Those are the reasons that BC Hydro is now having to look at a longer period for construction and having to look at extra costs, Honourable Speaker. All of that happened under BC Liberal watch.
Third party House Leader on a supplemental.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I thank the Minister for her response and to point out that without the independent assessment and a hydrogeological and geological assessment that should have happened, they might have known about the tension cracks to come that are causing great problems. So up until now, this has been a BC Liberal boondoggle. The cost overruns, the ballooning debt, the questionable need for such a costly project, this is the Liberals' mistake alone. But if this government decides to continue with Site C, they will become responsible for the impacts. It will be on the shoulders of this government. The BCUC report has been clear. We are not past the point of no return. We have a real, viable suite of alternatives that we can pursue. The heckling, they really don't want to hear these kinds of statements.
They're uncomfortable. They're very, very uncomfortable with this question.
And the alternatives can produce the power we need at the same price without the impact to one of the most biodiverse regions of our province. My question through you, Honourable Speaker, is to the Premier. The previous government left this mess of Site C as their legacy, but it does not have to become yours. Will you make the right decision to cancel Site C and lead us into a bold new energy future?
Minister, Energy, Mines and Petroleum Resources.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And no one has ever suggested that this decision would be an easy decision. And in fact, what I find most troubling around what's happening in this province and what has been going on for several years in this province regarding Site C is the division that has happened. That this project under the BC Liberals failed to create unity, Honourable Speaker, and I think it's because it was never about vision. Their decision was never about vision. Honourable Speaker, I don't even know if it was about electricity, to be quite frank. And when you have the former Premier, Christy Clark, say that she was determined to get it past the point of no return, it's pretty clear that their decision was more about ego than anything else, Honourable Speaker. And no matter what decision, no matter what happens at the end of the day, British Columbians are going to have to pay for that ego drive. Honourable Speaker, that wasn't okay. That was wrong. And we're doing our very best to right that wrong. We know that we need to work in the best interest of British Columbians. That's what we're going to be doing. Honourable Speaker, unfortunately, that's not what happened, but it was what always should have happened.